All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the More Than Just a Wedding podcast. Today, I have a very special guest. Tony George is with us,
Hello, hello.
and I have some fun insights about Tony that I can't wait to share. But I'm also excited to get to know him a little bit better and for all of our listeners and viewers to get to know him a little bit better. So,
Yeah.
welcome, Tony.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. I'm excited to chat and yeah, spill some of my secrets and all that.
Yes,
Yeah.
let's do it. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Tony, if we could start, if you would be so kind as to share just what your journey's been like
Yeah.
into wedding photography and really what led you into this as your career.
Yeah. So the whole story is kind of crazy. Weddings kind of like just happen out of nowhere for me. Um, Originally, I was a like corporately trained restaurant manager for a company called Cafe Zupas. I'm sure people have eaten there and stuff. But I
Yes.
would train all the other managers how to be managers and travel over the country and open all the new stores and all that stuff. And I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to own my own restaurant. But I was still doing photography on the side, doing families and engagement sessions and senior portraits and all of that, which I loved. Photography has always been like a huge part of my life, even since I was like a little kid. I had like a little flip phone. I would take pictures and put them in black and white and thought I was a pro and all this stuff. So
Wow.
it's always kind of been part of my journey, which was really cool. And I knew that I wanted to do photos even as like a side gig or incorporate it into something that I'm doing like in the restaurant field, doing photos for Cafe Zupas. I was like, I want to be the person that takes all the menu photos and all that stuff. And then the location that I was at, my boss at the time was getting married, and her photographer wasn't doing any getting ready photos. They were just doing from like ceremony on. And she's like, can you come do getting ready photos? And I was like, sure. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll give it a shot. Like, no promises. You know what I mean? I was like, all I've done is people like senior photos and families and a few events here and there. But yeah, so did that and like instantly just like fell in love. It just like hit me like this is where I need to be and this is what I need to do. So I
Wow.
asked the photographers on the day of, I was like, can I just shadow you guys? Like, I'll give you guys all the images I take. I just want to be a part of this and see how it is. And so, yeah, like throughout the day, I was like, it just felt so comfortable and so natural. Um, yeah, and that just kind of like fell in line there. And I took those photos and just marketed and booked like 8 of my own weddings just off of those like getting ready and ceremony photos that I took. Uh,
Wow.
yeah, and it just grew and doubled and doubled and doubled. And yeah, and then now we're just a little over 400 weddings captured. So yeah, it's kind
Unbelievable.
of quit my day job. The wedding industry was booming, coming out of like COVID and all of that stuff too. So
Yeah.
that's when during 2020, like the job that I was at, they were like, "Hey, we're opening up again. Like, what do you want your hours to be?" And I was like, "Nothing. I'm going in full time." So yeah, so I just kind of jumped
Whoa.
ship and was like, "I'm just gonna pursue what I want to do, and I'm gonna do anything I can to make it work." And it worked. So yeah, just been pushing myself since. It's been a cool journey for sure. So
Okay. Two thoughts.
yeah,
Um, Number one, the hospitality world. I mean,
yeah,
restaurant management.
yes,
I was a server through college.
okay.
I wasn't a great server.
Well, you're
I
great at what you do now, so that's
Thank
good.
you.
You're good
Thank
at
you.
serving clients in a different way now. So
Thank you.
yeah.
Yes. I yes. I learned a lot and was humbled in the experience and had a blast. But I left that knowing that the restaurant world is, I think, one of the hardest hospitality
Yeah.
positions anyone could be in. I
Yes.
mean, the volume and the turnover of the tables and the staff and the
Yeah.
timing and the intensity of the kitchen, back of the house, front of the
Mhm.
house. It makes sense knowing what I know about you and how I've witnessed you so calm.
Yeah.
That that makes sense that that was your background.
Yeah, I don't really like people are always like, "Aren't you nervous going into a wedding day or don't you feel pressure?" I was like, "No, I'm a guy with a camera taking pictures and enjoying someone's like best day of their life. So it's like the greatest privilege ever. And so I don't feel all those stresses that, some others, might. And that's something that I'm like, we'll go into it more a little bit, but that's something kind of moving in towards is like the educational side of it. So, but yes, in the restaurant industry, I was both hospitality and culinary manager combined. So I was in charge
Wow.
of both the front of house and back of house. And I was also every month I was rotating to new locations, like training all the managers and fixing all the issues. So I think like working 70 hours a week doing that and going into, doing photos full time, like this doesn't even amount to any of the pressure and stress that, we experience there. So, and you get it, you understand it's a totally different type of stress. So,
That is very, very real.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Um,
I
well,
know
let me
planners have a lot more stress on their shoulders. I'm not saying that, but
no,
you
no,
guys
no,
have
no,
so much
just
to
but I
do.
think being able to perform well under, like, a situation that does carry a lot of responsibility,
Yeah.
and I always tell our couples, and my team would share the same thought, that the photographers okay, yes, of course, their skill set and the artistry and their talent is huge.
Yeah.
But the other side of it that I don't think couples realize, and how would they, but is the personality of the
Mhm.
photographer and how they carry themselves and how the energy that they put out on a wedding day
Yeah.
is
So
crucial.
important, so important. That's like when I have people come to me, they're like, "Do you do consultations with your couples?" Like, "I just do a phone call." It's like, "No, you gotta get on a video with them and feel their energy out and see how they react to your energy too," because, like, on the wedding day, the photographer is like the number one person that's side by side with the couple the whole day. And if you don't mesh well, it's going to be awkward for everyone. So I'm like, it's so important to like know your couples and get to know them and know their backgrounds and know where they came from. That way you can go into wedding day as like a friend rather than just like a hired person that's just, doing a job. So yeah.
But also that calmness that you
Hmm.
continue to carry, I think, because as planners, we've seen all different types of photography
Yeah.
personalities. And
Yeah.
we have some that, quite frankly, make it more stressful, more rushed,
Hmm.
and necessary. And I think it's because they're thinking about their job, which
Yeah.
mad respect. I
Yeah.
get that. But at the same time, someone's actually in real time trying to live
Yes.
authentic moments and enjoy the experience.
Yeah. It's so
So
true. It's
it's
so
not a
true.
photo shoot. It's one of the most special days of
Yes.
someone's lives.
I'm glad you said that. That's like anytime I do a consultation with a couple, that's the first thing that I tell them is like your wedding day is not supposed to be a giant production. It's
Right.
supposed to be your wedding day. And the more authentic it is and the more present you are and the less focused you are on the timeline, the better the photos are going to come out, the better your memories are going to turn out too. So that's like exactly what I tell my couples every single time I meet with someone. I'm like, your wedding day is not a photo shoot. It's not a production. As much as I love pretty pictures and a nice portfolio, like that's not what it's about. So yeah, I'm
Yes.
glad you touched on that. That's super important.
Yes. And then the pandemic. It's
Yes.
it, I think it's really
Wild.
interesting because when everything happened, I remember someone close to me said, "Jennifer, you may want to be thinking your future. Like, who knows if
Hmm.
weddings will return in the same way that they existed before."
Yeah.
And I thought, "What?" And who would have guessed following the pandemic, this gigantic boom, we call it
Massive.
the wedding boom,
Yeah.
exploded.
Yep.
And my company, I'm 15 years in, but it
Hmm.
was very slow growth for the first several years where it was me, and then
Yeah.
slowly we brought on a team, and I was, raising babies and all the
Yeah.
things. So it was the perfect path for me. But post pandemic, my business exploded.
Hmm.
And it sounds like you had a
Yeah.
similar experience, like right time, right
Yes.
place.
Yes, exactly. It just felt right. I mean, 2020 was crazy with all the cancellations and everything like that, but because of all that, I think couples value their memories with their loved ones and everything more than
Yes.
they did anything else. I think that was a huge
Agreed.
part of it. They wanted to be around people. They wanted to be around their family and friends. So I think that like the wedding boom, I mean, not that COVID was a good thing or anything, but for the wedding industry, I think it really made people realize what was most important,
Yeah.
and that's the people, so
Yeah.
that's yeah, I agree. 2021, I had 64 weddings because of the COVID pushbacks and all that stuff, and then all of a sudden, like, after the pandemic was over, it was like inquiry after inquiry over and over and over, and then I was booking, like, triple wedding weekends, quadruple wedding weekends. It was wild, so but it was great, so
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of good to come out of the bad, which is kinda crazy to say, but I mean, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
for everybody. So, I know a lot of the couples felt pressure during that, and, I think that they really realized that the people are the most important thing, so
Yeah. It really highlighted the importance of celebration,
mhm, I
something
agree,
that our virtual world can never take over that
agree.
feeling.
Yeah,
Okay. Next question, Tony.
yes,
How has your perspective on preserving a couple's legacy, um, how is I know you have on your website, there's a big importance that you place on the legacy through
yeah,
photography.
yeah.
Can you kind of talk us through your perspective on that?
Yeah, yeah. So, when I was first starting doing photography and starting weddings and stuff, I was all about like the pretty details, the perfect portraits, all of that stuff. And then after a couple years started going by, as like morbid as it is to say, I've had couples come to me like, "I'm so glad you got a photo of my uncle John. He passed away this year. We printed this photo for his funeral and all this stuff." So it's morbid to think of it like that, but I was like, wow, I was like, my photos really have a huge impact on people's lives because, people pass away or, families grow and they like to reminisce on, oh my gosh, I can't believe, look at us, just us without our 5 kids or whatever it was. So yeah, I think preserving those memories, my focus shifted away from like only getting the details and the perfect portrait and all of that and like really encompassing all of the guests, in the wedding because all of the guests are there for a reason. They're your VIPs and I want them to be a part of your story when you're looking back through your gallery and it not just being pretty portraits the whole time. So I think like that was a huge shift in my mindset on what it is to like create like the legacy heirloom photos, that everybody cherishes. And that's something that looking through my galleries and stuff, they'll see tons and tons of photos of their guests throughout every single portion of the day. Again, because you never know where life is going to take you or your family or their family. And so like having those small hug photos or like Uncle John laughing in the background or something is some of the photos that the couples post. And I'm like, I never thought they were going to post that one, but like they love
Yeah,
the
it
smile
spoke
or the
to
laugh.
them.
Yeah, it spoke to
Yeah.
them. So that's why it's so important for me. That's another thing that I push during, consultations and stuff is like look through this gallery with me and like what do you notice? They're like, wow, there's so many guest photos. I'm like, yeah, they're there for a reason. I don't want them to look through the gallery also and be like, I wasn't in any pictures, you know what I mean? So yeah, the people and realizing that their most important people need to be like my most important people on the wedding day too, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's a different mindset than someone that's going in to create a magazine editorial
Yeah.
versus someone's documented memories and keepsakes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, something fun that you and I
Yeah.
have in common is we both have 3 kiddos,
Yes.
but we both have 1 singleton
Yes.
and a set of twins.
Yes. I know. It's crazy.
But we're opposite because
Yeah.
I have twin girls that are now 13, and I
Yeah.
have a little boy who just turned 10, and you have a little girl who's how old?
She's 3. She'll be 4 in August.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
And then the
And then you have
boys,
twin
yeah.
boys.
Yeah. 1.5 years old now. So yeah. It's a wild
Tony.
time. It's a wild time. Yeah.
Those
But we're
8
so
so
blessed.
my kiddos are 3.5 years apart. How about
Yeah.
yours?
They're what is that, like 2-ish, 2.5, something like that?
Wow.
Year and a half, or yeah, year and a half to 2, somewhere in that range. Yeah, 18 months, I think my wife said, I'm pretty sure. Something like that. So,
Oh my
yeah. Yeah, we were
goodness.
shocked for sure. We still
Yeah.
are. We'll be on the couch just like we're like, "Wow, this is our life." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, we have 3 kids." So, yeah, it's a lot of
It's
fun.
it's so and I think there's something about being a twin parent and then having another child too. People are like, "You're crazy." But it's It's so much fun.
It is. It's a lot of
It's
fun. Yeah,
so
it's a lot
much
of fun.
fun. And
Although my
as
kids do not enjoy me taking pictures of them, so they're they're gonna
really?
have to get used to it though. Yeah, they're anytime I
Yeah.
try to take a picture, my daughter especially is like, "No," and like turns away. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." But then
Those will be good photos
yeah,
one day
but
though.
then she has a little play phone that has a camera on it and she takes pictures all day long. So
Oh.
I looked
So
through it the other
maybe
day and there's like 400 selfies of her doing different faces. So it's hilarious.
so maybe she prefers behind the lens.
I
Maybe
mean,
she'll be
maybe.
a
Yeah, maybe.
future documenter.
Yeah, I've got
Well,
some training to do for sure. So
well, Tony, how has becoming a husband and a father shaped the way that you view your wedding days and the moments that you
yeah,
capture?
I think it's totally different. Like I feel now that, first off getting married while I was like getting into the wedding industry because I started in 2016. That was the one that I spoke about. That was the first ever like wedding experience and we got
Wow.
married the end of 2018. So I was like still fresh into doing weddings. But I think like getting married first of all, seeing the other side of it, being a groom and seeing how the day flows and seeing the chaotic moments shaped kind of how I enter wedding day, and then now becoming a father. First, just my daughter alone, I cry at every father daughter moment on the wedding day. Behind my camera, I'm shedding tears, and then I just like act like I'm looking at my camera. And I'm like wiping my eye or something. So, yeah. So
Yeah.
those moments are so important now, like even more than they were before. I knew that they were big moments and stuff, but seeing the
Mhm.
impact that children have on their parents, like on the wedding day, and seeing the dads like I put myself into their shoes now. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, that was like they were in my shoes at one point, and they had a 3-year-old girl that was running around the house playing dress up, and now they're playing dress up in a different way." You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I think it kind of shaped how I view those moments differently than someone that maybe may not be married or may not have kids. Obviously, they're big moments, and everybody knows that. Like the first look with the bride and her father, everybody knows it's special. But when you can like put yourself into like you're envisioning yourself in the future crying at your own daughter's wedding day. So I think capturing those moments of like the parents with their children is big. Something I started doing now too is incorporating a first look with the groom and his mom instead of like just the bride and her dad. So a lot of the wedding days now we do that to have the groom have a special moment with his mom and stuff too.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a cool thing I've been doing at almost every wedding now, and couples love it. They're like, "I never even thought of doing that," because the bride gets all the attention on the wedding day. The
Mhm.
groom's family can kind of not get pushed to the side or anything necessarily, but they don't have as many special moments besides
Yeah.
like the mother son dance. So again,
Yeah.
it's just like about putting yourself into the couple's shoes on how they would want to feel on the wedding day, and then also putting yourself into the family's shoes being a parent or being a husband, like you have to have like the empathy, and feel their
Yeah.
emotions and what they would feel too. So, yeah, documenting those special moments is a big deal for me now. I'm a big baby on the wedding day when it comes to those special moments. So don't mind me if I'm like sniffling behind my camera. It's definitely not allergies like people say. It's definitely me
Yeah.
crying. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I know. I think it's been just for me, it's a sense of awareness with
Hmm.
the delicacy of the relationship sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, I will never forget this one very special mom. She and I grew close through the planning process, and she told me once, she goes, I think my daughter is upset with me about a conversation we've never even had. Like one that the daughter had in her head, probably wedding
Yeah.
related about something she wanted to do and thought, oh, mom won't like that. But
Yeah.
conversation never even happened. But just that mother daughter dynamic,
Yeah.
is so special and so
Yeah.
delicate. And it's just, it's good for me when I'm chatting with these families to always take, just both
Yeah.
of the relationships
Yeah.
and the bride wanting something some way and the mom wanting something for other, that you have to kind of balance all of that
Yeah, it's a big
and
balancing act for sure.
yeah, and
Yeah.
just being mindful of it and respecting it and trying to
Mhm.
make everybody happy is
Yeah.
a skill set,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Tony, what? what should couples be looking for when they're choosing their photographer beyond the Instagram
Yeah.
feed?
Yeah, I think the first thing that they should really look at is obviously a full gallery.
Yes,
That's
yes,
like
yes,
the
yes, yes,
number one
yes.
thing. You
And
never
that
want
let
to
me
just
just
go.
interject
Yeah,
really
yeah,
quick, Tony, because I get
yeah,
passionate about that.
yes.
Um, and the reason for the full gallery, all of our listeners, please understand that a photographer can photograph a styled shoot
Mhm.
where they have full control over the lighting, the timing, the
Yep,
details, the
yep,
staging,
yep,
and it should look really good.
yeah.
But
It should
that
look
is
magazine ready.
yes, that
Yeah.
is not the same thing of a living, breathing
Mhm.
wedding day.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry, I love that
No,
point. Thank you.
no, you hit
Always
it
ask for the
nail
full
on the head.
gallery.
Yes, always, always, and not just one. I always say ask for multiple because you want to see different lighting scenarios. You want to see different times of the year. And I like when I send my galleries out, my sample galleries to couples. They're from different venues, different times of the year. Even if the date doesn't specifically match up to their date, I still want them to see that I'm capable of shooting every type of lighting, every type of sunset, every type of reception, indoor, outdoor, big ballroom, tiny, closed quarters. So I think that's super important for new couples going into their wedding day and choosing their vendors, especially photography, is ask for multiple galleries, not just one, because
Yeah.
they'll just show you they're only going to show you their number one best gallery they've ever done. And not every gallery is that way. Not every wedding is going to be, you know, editorial and magazine, ready and all of that. There's so many different dynamics and details and lighting scenarios. So I think number one, always ask for full galleries. If you're doing an engagement session, I always say ask for engagement session galleries too, so you can see how posing goes, what the lighting looks like, where they like to shoot. It gives you like a really good gauge of who the photographer is as a whole. Because some galleries, some photographers, again, everybody has different values and what they value on the wedding day. Like for me, I love all the intimate moments, all of the people, all of the interactions and the candids. Obviously, I always try and make sure we get amazing portraits and amazing detail photos and stuff too. But like looking through my galleries, they'll see a lot of candids of their guests. They'll see a lot of candids of them hugging their guests and crying with their guests also. Um, so I think it gives you like a really good gauge on who they are as a photographer and what they focus on the wedding day.
And what
And
they
if you
value.
Yes, what they value. So if you really value, like, I only really care about the portraits. I really want editorial, Vogue, submission ready portraits. That might not be another photographer that's very documentary style might not be the fit for you. Even though they only show like their prettiest work on their Instagram, their
Mhm.
gallery might not match up with that. So that's super super important. And then also, I think it's very important to get on some kind of consultation with them. I mean, emailing and texting is great, but you can never really like feel their vibe or their tone through messages. So that's why I'm always like hop on a phone call or hop on a Zoom meeting. Or if you're more of an in person, go grab coffee if you really want to get to know them. I think that's kind of gone away a little bit, like the in person meetings a lot, but you really have to get to know the photographer because that's who you're going to be working side by side with the most on the wedding day, photo and video. So if you're doing video too,
Yes.
same thing. So ask for multiple videos, ask for what a full film looks like versus a highlight reel. Same concept, with photo. But um, and then I I mean, I always say like have some questions ready. That way you don't just jump into it and then it's just the photographer spewing everything out because the retention isn't going to be there as much. So try and think of some questions or even chat GPT some questions, you know what I mean? Have some
Yeah.
questions ready to start that conversation so you don't just jump into it staring at a
Yeah.
photographer's face and then we're just spewing information. So
And just to extend on that, because that was a great point. Let's say, I mean, most of our couples are utilizing,
yeah.
ChatGPT or
Hmm.
Claude or whatever their preferred AI system is. But take the time when you're setting up the question to further explain what you're looking for in your photographer.
Yeah.
I'm looking for someone that is um, highly skilled in capturing moment driven moments as
Yeah.
well as, beautiful landscape,
Yeah.
whatever speaks to you. And then they can cater the questions accordingly,
Yeah.
as opposed to just saying, like, what should I ask my photographer? Well, they're going to
Yeah.
just tell you the basics.
Yeah.
Make it work for you.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The more questions you ask and the more details you have up front is going to be huge. So I know in my inquiry form, there's a section that says like, tell me about your vision or something along, I can't remember the exact wording, but take time to put some details in. If you just say, I'm looking for pricing, I don't know if I'm right for you. I don't know if you know what you're looking for. So I always
Mhm.
say like take a moment because I don't wanna, like, toot my own horn or anything, but, like, photography is one of the most important vendors that you can book because at the end of
Sure
the
it is.
day, the cake's eaten, the dress is put away, the
Mhm.
flowers are preserved,
Mhm.
everything else has kind of gone away, your families fly back home. The photos are, like the photo and video are, like, the only things you have to really relive your wedding day. So really
Agreed.
take time and do some research, do your homework, ask the right questions, and get the idea of what you want from your photographer ahead of time. So you're
Mhm.
not having to go through 50 meetings and then you're like, well, I don't know what to do now because I've talked to 50 photographers with all different styles and
Mhm.
I don't know what I like anymore. So like really do your research beforehand. Look through people's websites, look at people's Instagrams and get like your top five. And then again, like you mentioned with the questions and even typing it into, chat GPT or something, this is the photographer I'm looking for. I love this style. What are some questions I should ask
There you go.
instead of just
Yeah.
asking, what do I ask a photographer? That's going to give you like the most random list of questions that's not going to apply to you. So
Yeah.
if you do create a questionnaire for your photographer, your vendors, try and cater it specifically to what your needs are and what your values are. If you're like, I really love people and I really love the documentary style photos, but I don't want them to be too bright and airy. I don't want them to be too dark and moody. Like put those details
Right.
into it, and the more information you put out there, the better results are going to be for you. And even when you inquire with your photographer too, it's the same concept. Like the more info we have about your needs and what you want, the
Mhm.
better we can, serve you. So if
Yeah.
we just go into it with no info, we're like, hey, I'm Tony. Here's my photos. Do you like them or not? So,
Right, right.
yeah, the more info we have up front is better for sure. So,
And I think too, something I always tell our couples is because there is a bit of struggle with the overwhelm, and
mhm,
I think sometimes couples feel like they should know more about the wedding world than they
yeah,
do. I'm
yeah,
always like, "Well, how would you know all of this?" Like,
yeah,
of course, we do this all day, every day. Of course,
yeah,
we know this. Like, don't feel bad about that. So, what I always tell them too is sometimes it's helpful if you tell us what you know you don't want,
yeah. That's a good point too. Yeah, that's very true.
because
Yeah,
then
I
we
agree.
know exactly what to eliminate as far as
Yeah.
styles, personalities, and so forth.
Yeah. Yeah, that's stuff that I ask during consultations too is like, what's most important to you and what are some things you lean away from? So some couples are like, I don't like editorial posing. I don't want stiff, serious stuff. I'm like, that's good to know because then we can just shift focus and get more candid, fun photos instead. And vice versa. Some couples are like, I want full editorial. I want it to look Vogue. I've had that a bunch too, where we keep the posing very serious and stiff and editorial. And, so yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. Okay. Um, Tony, from in your opinion, what are some common mistakes or misconceptions couples have when they are planning for their wedding photography?
Oh man. That's so tough. I think so it's kind of like a controversial topic, I guess, when it comes to like pricing. I think we hear a lot of like, I want a photographer that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. And like, well, I want someone that's what's the word? It's they want someone that's not too expensive. And I'm like, well, we don't know what that is for you. We don't know what the budget is. I think a misconception is like the higher the priced photographer, the better everything is gonna be overall, which I feel like just isn't the case. Sure,
I
you have
I
amazing work.
agree,
Yeah.
agree, agree, and
So
I witnessed it
it might be a
firsthand.
20K photographer, but it might not be the best personality. It might be a very stiff, uncomfortable, you know, monotone personality.
But
Or
even the
yeah,
personality, Tony, I'm gonna get a little
a
over
little
here.
dicey.
My goodness. Just because someone has a very expensive price
Yeah,
tag, I've also worked with them and been so let down with how
yeah,
they conduct themselves,
yeah,
how they are to work with from a planning standpoint, how, a lack of care that they're giving
yeah.
their couples, and I just stand there
Heard
like,
many
"What
stories,
in
yeah.
the world?" Like,
Heard many,
how
many stories.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So keep going. I like where
No,
you were
yeah,
taking
no, I
me.
think I'm not saying, like, go with the cheapest photographer you can possibly find because they'll have the best personality, that's not what I'm saying,
Right?
but
Agreed.
I think that just because you see a super high price tag doesn't mean that they're gonna be the best fit for you, just because you see, like, a super low price tag doesn't mean they're the most inexperienced, unprofessional photographer either.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people get confused with. There was like, well, I've heard it from other people too, and, planners that I talk to and stuff that are like, well, the couples see I send these 4 photographers. These 3 are at, 10,000, 12,000, 15,000, and then I send another photographer that's at 6,000 or whatever. They're gonna automatically assume that that's, like, the most unexperienced or inexperienced, least professional, or whatever, but
Sure.
it doesn't really equate to anything. I feel like that's just I don't know, it's just I don't know what it is. I don't know why that's something that goes around, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's again, like, why doing your research and getting on consultations is, like, the most important thing. Getting full galleries and looking at reviews and all of that stuff too. So, yeah, I think that's, like, a huge misconception is that the higher the price, the better the photographer, but it doesn't I mean, they might be a great photographer and they might have amazing work and they might have been featured everywhere, but they might be a nightmare to work with. So you never know what you that's why it's important to do your research for sure. So,
Yeah. And really, really know what you value
mhm,
in what you're looking for
yeah.
and go the extra mile to, like you said, to have the consultation, to
Mhm.
see what is their energy like? What is their tone
Yeah,
like? Are they being responsive communicators?
yeah, yeah, that's
What do
another
the reviews say too? I think
yeah,
reviews from past clients, that's everything right
yeah,
there.
yeah,
Someone that went through a full journey, a full year of their life
yeah.
trusting you with this responsibility, and to be on the other side of that, you wanna read those words.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. That's why, in my like pricing, documents I send out, there's reviews throughout too. So even when they're reviewing what I offer, they can see what other couples have said, around like what the package that they're looking at. And what I have reviews in there too that bridal party I've left. So seeing even just outside the scope of the bride and groom. So if there is reviews from other people besides just the bride and groom, that's even better because that means that even beyond the bride and groom, the people loved that person too. So,
Yes.
if you can find reviews like that from vendors you're looking at, I think that's a huge win for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think also asking your fel I always say, even for people inquiring us, like, ask around,
yeah,
ask your venue, ask other vendors if they've
hmm
worked with us and what their opinion is and if they think we'd be a good fit, because
yeah.
we're gonna know right away.
Yeah, they do weddings, especially planners, especially venues, like, they do
Yeah.
weddings sometimes venues do, like, weddings 6 days a week or 7 days a
Mhm.
week, so they're gonna
Yeah.
see all the good, the bad, and the ugly, so, I mean, if your venue has someone that's in charge of events and, they might know who you're looking to inquire with, and they can kinda give you direction too, so, yeah,
Yeah.
again, I can't stress enough, like, the more research you do, the more questions you ask, the better everything's going to be for you. So that's how
Yeah.
you find your dream vendor team is by doing that. Not just like I love their Instagram, let's book them, and then you know,
Yeah.
and then you book them, and then the whole vendor team's like, oh no, they booked this person. So yeah,
Yeah, that's
it-
and we have to carry the weight of
yeah,
that worry and that
hmm
responsibility, and day of, if you have one weak vendor on a
it's
team
so true.
with a bunch of soldiers,
Yep.
wow, the discrepancy is it's hard.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard, and
Yeah.
we're never
It's
gonna
huge.
tell you that
Yeah.
unless we really feel wholeheartedly that we need to tell you
Yeah.
because they're not doing what they should be doing, leading
Yeah.
up to the wedding and so forth,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
yeah.
I'll let the planners take care of those those
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
That's what the planners are there for, to
That's
take care of
true,
those.
that's true.
I'm like, as a photographer, I'm never gonna go up to a DJ and be like, "Hey, man, it's not really working." You know what I mean? So,
Can you, turn your personality
yeah,
down a little
yeah,
bit?
yeah.
Yeah,
I won't do that. So,
yeah,
yeah,
agreed.
great point though. That's so true.
Let's see. This is a big one. Tony, how can couples feel comfortable and confident in front of the camera? And let me make this like a two-part question.
Yeah,
Um, I have noticed that engagement sessions tend to be more potentially uncomfortable than a wedding day.
yeah,
And I've also experienced situations where couples will skip an engagement session because time and
Mhm.
life and all the things and not do it. And that's always a like a I that's a red flag for me. I always say, please, please be sure that
Yeah.
you are comfortable with this because the engagement is such a warm up to so many things.
Yep.
So, can you speak to both of those points
Yeah.
and question?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think first the engagement session's huge, getting to know your photographer, and I think that's where you really break all of the awkwardness. I would say like 99.9 or 100% of couples that come to me are like, "We're awkward in front of the camera." I'm like, "Well, you don't have a professional camera in front of your face every day." I mean,
Right.
unless you're on reality
Like
TV.
posing romantically,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. You guys aren't touching foreheads as often as you think you are, you know what I mean? So
going through the grocery store and so
yeah.
forth.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, like, these kind of, like, intimate fun poses aren't things you're comfortable doing, just like
Yeah,
skydiving for the first time or trying a new hobby or going on a first date or whatever it is, like, it's always uncomfortable because it's unfamiliar,
right.
and I think that to break that is especially as a photographer, you have to get out of the mindset of, like, "I'm here to just take pretty pictures." Like, I always try to engage with the couple, ask about their life, joke around with them, tell them about my life. So like they know that I'm a real person and not like a robot taking photos, you know, because I think when people are looking online and stuff, they're like, you can't connect the like that it's a real person behind the website taking these photos until you're like in front of them. But I mean,
Mhm.
I've heard horror stories too where it's like, we went to go do our engagement photos. We loved the photos, but we felt so uncomfortable the entire time because it was dead silent or it was, they didn't talk or they just posed us. I've heard tons of stories. Um, so like my shift in that is just to be a normal person, just be yourself,
Yeah.
just have conversations and joke around and talk about your life. And, I always share like funny stories that happened at wedding days or engagement sessions, whatever and stuff too. So they feel more comfortable. It breaks the ice really well. Um, and all that awkward tension is gone because now they're just kind of like out at a location with a friend and we're just getting photos. So I think like breaking that wall down is really just done by getting to know your couples. And that's why again, like consultations are huge because I'll ask a lot of those questions about their life and about all of that during the consultation. So then when we get to the engagement session, I'm like, oh yeah, so you went to this college or whatever, or your family's from Chicago, my family's from Chicago, and then we start talking and talking and talking, and then it really breaks people out of their shell. So I think going into the second part of that question is like the engagement part of it is so crucial. I think I know a lot of couples skip it just because like,
Right.
oh, we can just send out save the dates. But then wedding day comes and like I don't know how to pose you. I don't know what looks best on you. Certain angles don't look, perfect on everybody. Not every pose works for every couple. Everybody's different heights and weights and has different sides they like and stuff. So I
Mhm.
think the engagement session is like a really good trial run, just like you do a trial run with hair and makeup for your wedding day. It's the same thing as engagement photos. It's really
Yeah.
like a trial run with your photographer. And what if it doesn't work out? You know what I mean? What if you get to the engagement session and you're like, wow, I really don't blend with this photographer. Like I really don't mesh. Like it
Mhm.
was really uncomfortable. I'm not a fan of the photos. That's kind of like a way to get into obviously nobody wants to cancel a contract and stuff, but I mean, doing the engagement session will really tell you like if this is the perfect fit for your wedding day or not. Um, yeah, I think it's crucial. I mean, I know there's a lot of people that don't offer engagement sessions or they're like, well, it's I don't market it or whatever. I think they should. I
I
really
do
do.
too.
Yeah, I
I do
mean,
too.
as it might make you busier, obviously, like,
Sure.
it is what it is, but also you prayed for this busyness. So, I mean,
Mhm.
that's something you've wanted, and then being a full-time photographer, like, some days are gonna be busier than others. It just is what it is, just like as if you had a normal job or a career. Some days are gonna be more hectic than others, and schedules are not gonna align perfectly. But I think doing the engagement session is huge. You're gonna go into the wedding day more confident as the couple, more confident in in the posing, and you're going to kind of know what to do right off the bat. A lot of my
Yeah.
couples that I do engagement sessions with, we start the portrait session and they're just like flow right into the poses. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay,
Like,
turn
"Oh,
towards,
we've done this before."
yeah. I'm like, okay, turn towards each other. They automatically put the hands around or they automatically, they know what to do. So it's a really
Yeah.
good trial. And it breaks a lot of that uncomfortability on the wedding day too. There's a lot of pressure and stress. And the last thing you want is even more pressure and stress, feeling uncomfortable during photos,
Yeah.
obviously. You don't need that. So that's why I think yeah, that's why I offer engagement sessions in all my packages because,
Okay,
um,
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's I mean, it's not like a
And
non-negotiable. I'm not gonna be like, "You have to do this session,"
sure,
but, I
you
think
highly
it's
encourage it.
highly encourage it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think that brings us back to when they're researching their photographers. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like a photographer that's going to have it as part of their collection is one that values the relationship, the
Yeah, the
trust
connection.
build, the
Yeah.
customization.
Mhm.
So pay attention to that if
Yeah,
that's what you value too.
yeah,
And again, their prices may very well be a little higher. And there's
yeah.
reason for that because of
Mhm.
what's included. It's not like you're comparing apples to apples. Like
Yeah.
look at what the inclusions are. And
Mhm.
that's really important.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So one thing, Tony, that like made you stand out to me in a wow moment was I was assisting one of our lead planners, Adriana, on
Yeah,
a beautiful wedding at the Omni Monte Lucia,
yeah.
amazing couple. And there was this moment where it was right before the grand entrance,
Mhm.
and our sweet bride had one of the most challenging bustles that I think we've ever come across.
Yep, I
And
remember.
Adriana and I are working on this bustle, and then her maid of honor, who had a very
Yes.
intense
Yeah.
personality, and she was lovely. She just
Yep,
was
I
caring for her
remember.
friend. But she went in guns a blazing to
Yeah,
this bustle situation,
yeah.
so much so that I sort of stepped back a little bit.
Mhm.
And Adriana, who has she's a she has tougher skin than I.
Yeah,
She's still
yeah,
in the game. And
yeah.
I don't know how you did this, Tony, but it was the coolest thing to witness as planners. You calmly, collectively, bravely got in there and saved the day. And our intense bridesmaid let you. She finally
Yeah,
like stood back. You kind of you just didn't give up. And eventually you got this bustle done. And
yeah,
I looked over at Adriana and I thought, this guy. She's like, I know.
yeah.
And we had a team meeting the next week, and both of us were like, girls, we need to tell you about Tony George.
That's
He is our
awesome.
new best friend.
I love
We,
it.
so that was a huge moment. And you probably do that at every wedding and don't even
Yeah,
think twice about it. But
yeah.
that calm under pressure was as a partner to
Mhm.
us, we were so grateful for you
I
in
love
that
it.
moment.
I
So
love that. Yeah, I do the bustle at every wedding, so, usually when we're done with portraits, I just bustle the dress up really quick so they can just go into cocktail without having to worry about it, so just one of those things,
those
professional bustler on
moments.
the resume. So,
Yes, you are. Yes,
yeah.
you are. Well, and what
Yeah,
I think people it sounds I'm probably saying the story and people don't quite get it, but what you don't understand is this poor bride is standing perfectly still
yeah,
in high heels.
yep,
She's exhausted. It's before dinner. She's done
yeah,
all of her photos, and we've just got to get her through this
yeah,
grand entrance moment. And the longer she's standing there, we know she's uncomfortable. She's
yeah.
exhausted.
I could
So
feel it, the tension in the room for sure.
yeah, you
Yeah,
really can.
yeah.
So, yes, Team Tony from
I
Big
love it.
Star Team
I love
for
it.
sure. Um, and then my goodness, your photos of that wedding were
Oh, thank
absolutely
you. Thank you, thank you. It was
spectacular.
a good one. They were a great couple. I mean,
They really were.
and, like, I feel like we had, like, the best team. It was so smooth, at least on my end. I don't know how it was on the planner's end, but
Yeah,
I feel like everything was just, like, just flawless. It just seamless. Everything flowed so well. Yeah, it
yeah.
was that's the importance of having a good vendor team, I'm telling you.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah.
And your sweet wife was pregnant with your twin
Yes,
boys.
yes.
And when you were saying goodbye, I think you were going to go get her some food on the
Yep.
way home.
Yeah, yep. I think it was, like, late night In and Out or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. And we
yeah.
thought, what a guy. We need to work with Tony more
Yeah, I
often.
love it. Whatever I can do.
Okay. Let's see, Tony. Couple more questions for you, if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, correct me if I'm wrong, but in my research, I was learning that your approach is blending film and digital
Mhm.
photography.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, I do both.
Speak to that and what you how you feel the blend in that makes the imagery feel timeless.
Yeah, film is, like, really blown up over the last couple years. I feel like people really want authenticity all the way from, like, you know, again, like, back to personalities all the way through their final gallery. They want authenticity, and I think that's something that film gives you that digital doesn't. You can edit digital photos to look like film, and people do that a lot and match stuff, or they'll add grain or whatever. But film photos is it's a totally different aspect that people don't realize. When you take a photo of film, it's literally what the camera sees is burned onto a physical strip of film. Like, that moment is burned into a strip of film that will be there forever. So it's like a physical, tangible thing, which is kind of a cool thing to think about, like a moment literally etched into something.
Yeah.
And then the look of it, the feel of it, the lighting, everything, it just feels like more vintage, more authentic, more real, more in the moment. Because
Mhm.
digital photos can be like very sharp and crisp and like picture perfect straight out of camera. So I think it's like
Right.
the imperfections and stuff too is what adds to that authenticity of the wedding day. Because obviously nothing's perfect on every wedding
Oh,
day. So
yeah.
I think like blending those two is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun for me artistically. And it's like it's cool too because it's a surprise. I can't look at the back of the camera and see how it turned out. So,
Yeah, you gotta know
uh,
what you're doing.
you gotta know what you're doing for sure. Yeah, because you can mess up a film roll super easily if your one setting is off at all. So, and there's
And is
not really
that
any
shoot
saving
like,
it.
will you shoot like, say you're doing the portrait session,
Yeah.
will you shoot digital and then or excuse me, shoot with your film camera and then switch to digital just for a safety backup?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, usually we'll do that for, like, key moments throughout the day, so we usually
got
try
it.
and get, some of getting ready moments, a couple of the flat lay, some during ceremony, and then again, kind of like every key point of the day is gathering some film with it as well. I try not to do too many, like, perfectly back to back of the exact same thing because I feel like it's almost pointless at that point.
Okay.
I feel like I
Yeah.
want the film camera to be more like documenting like super authentic moments versus just
Mm.
being like a different style of the exact same photo, if that makes
Okay.
sense. So
Yes.
so the film photos will be a little bit different from the rest of the gallery. They might not be the exact digital copy of that film one.
Sure.
Because it's just different moments. Obviously, like when I'm shooting the digital, it's all of the key moments, it's all of the key details, everything, and then the film camera is kind of there to fill in all the other little gaps, so to
Got
say,
it.
I guess you could say. So, but there is times where I'm like, I have to get this on film too. You know what I mean? So we're doing
Okay.
a portrait and it's perfect. I'm like, this would look amazing, and I'm like, pause, don't move. We're doing it on film too.
Okay.
But yeah, I think throughout the day it's kind of more focused on like more candid, more detail oriented, more artistic looks versus like being an exact copy photos they already have on digital. So
Okay. That makes
yeah,
sense. Okay.
yeah,
Amazing. And this photo next question,
yeah.
um, this wasn't on my list of potential questions, so
Okay,
I
okay.
hope you're okay with it. But
Yes.
I wanted to ask you, Tony, if you were to describe the ideal couple for you to work with, how would you describe them?
Oh my gosh, you throw me for a loop here. I didn't do
I
my
know.
research.
I know.
um, my ideal
Like,
couple.
what do they
Yeah,
value? Like, what
yeah,
questions would they ask you? What
yeah. No, I think my ideal couple, I think, is less about the looks and more about the personality and my approach, at least.
Mhm,
Like, I don't need every single couple of mine to be a Vogue model. Like, I want them to be like authentic, real people.
mhm.
When I go into a consultation or even an email and they're like, "We love your work. We love that you captured this detail," or like when they describe certain things they've looked at, like I can tell they really like dove deep into the website or the portfolio and like really valued like my work. Um, and they really value me as a person too. So they're like, "Oh my gosh, we saw you have 3 kids. Like that's amazing." Like when they start talking about that, like I feel like that's my ideal couple is when they really value me not as like a photographer but as a person and like
Mhm.
they know that I have, strong values and all that too. I think that's my my ideal couple if that makes sense.
It
Less
does,
about
it
like
does.
less about like we just want pretty photos, but more about like we want to be your friend type of thing. So I've
Yeah,
made a lot of
yeah,
really good friends through couples too. I have so many couples that I actually like still hang out with, and like
that's
we go
amazing.
out to Suns games together and stuff too. So
Very
yeah,
cool.
I really value like just real, authentic conversations and moments,
Yeah.
especially when, with my couples too. I'm like, I'm a real person. I'm like I'm a normal guy that, I love, the Suns, and I love, whatever music and all this stuff. So I think that when couples can approach it in that way too, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I have to work with this couple. They sound amazing." We talked about the
Mhm.
Suns on the on the consultation or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's less about being like picture perfect people and more about like we really want to enjoy our wedding day and we want you to be a part of it. Like that's like
Mhm.
the ideal. If I get a message like that, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, sold." Like,
Let's
here's
go.
the contract. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think that we have similar client,
Yeah.
um, I can just tell that our clients also value those very similar things as
Yeah.
well. And something, even just me as a person, when I'm looking at vendors, the first thing I do is I will go on their About Me page.
Mhm.
And if it's like you have your beautiful family on
Yeah.
your, you know, but there are some photographers that would never include anything about them personally. And
Yeah.
for me, I'm looking for who's behind the lens,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
So
You have to.
that's, yeah,
Yeah, I wanna know who my couples are, and I want them to know who I am too. Again,
right.
that goes back to the last question that you asked about the engagement session and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
they know who I am before we even do a phone call. They know what my likes are, they know what my family's like, you know,
Hmm.
I'm not going into specific details or anything, but, like, they
Right.
know that I have 3 kids. They know what I love to do. They know that I wake up at 5 AM and go to the gym because it's literally in my About Me page, like, a fun
Yeah.
fact or whatever. So, like, they know
Yeah.
who I am and what I value before they even send an inquiry. So, um, yeah, so I feel like a lot of the couples that I get, we share a lot of the same values because they're like they see that on my site and they're like they connect with it. So I think it's important to spill a little bit of who you are as a person,
For
um,
sure.
website or social media, do an about me post, but don't just make it like I've been doing photos for 10 years and this is the gear I shoot with and this is how I pose. Like talk about yourself and who you are because
I
people
know.
want to connect, especially like the younger generation, the Gen Z couples coming into weddings. Like they want someone that they can connect with and not just like a robot vendor. That's what I call them, like, robot vendors where it's, like, no personality, it's like, "I'm here to do a job and I'm
Mhm.
leaving," you know what I mean? Uh,
Yeah.
couples
Well,
wanna.
and what's so funny too, I mean, I've been in the business my whole adult life,
Yeah.
and I can tell when a vendor is speaking vendor talk. When
Yes.
they start getting into the gear that they use, I giggle a little bit, not in a disrespectful way, but
Yeah.
I know the client's like, "You're
They're like
speaking a different
yeah,
language."
they don't care. They couldn't care
Yeah.
less what camera you're using unless they're, like, a photographer themselves, but yeah,
Exactly. So I think when they're speaking that, they're impressing they're speaking to the industry,
yeah,
not the clients.
yeah,
So
yeah.
you have to remember who you're
Yes.
serving.
You have to spill the beans a little bit about who you are and what your interests are. I mean, I'm sorry, some people don't like doing it like you said, but, like, you have to
Yes.
you have to let people
Yeah.
know who you are as a person and what you value up front, not until you get on a video consultation and then you're, like, finally like, "Okay, this is who I am." Like,
Right.
just be yourself from start to finish, you know?
And
Be
I think,
authentic from start to finish.
eh, someone once said it's about, attracting or repelling.
Mhm.
And in my early years, I would have been like, "Well, I don't wanna repel anyone. That
Yeah.
sounds scary."
I wanna book
But
everyone. Yeah.
yeah,
I'm here
I
for
can make it
everybody.
work, you know? But now that I've, been through the cycles of having clients that I knew were meant to be ours and having a few that I wondered,
Yeah.
you know, kind of they slipped through the cracks and I didn't think that we were mutually a great fit, very small amount, but now
Mhm.
I see the importance in knowing, case in point, I had my little boy on my podcast interviewing me,
I love it.
and but to some people, that may not be something that they find professional, and
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah.
Some people might find it endearing and see that I am also a mama
Yeah.
and they're part of
Yeah.
my world, and
Yeah.
how fun is that? So,
Yeah, that's it's true. I think that's a big point of, like, why I show my family, on my stories or, in my
mhm,
about me pages and stuff like that. I
mhm,
want them to know that they're not just, like, supporting my business, like, they're literally providing for my family also, so I think that's a big part of it too, like, this is who you're booking. You're not just booking me, you're booking our little crew. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Yeah.
doing this for them. I'm not doing this because I like
Mhm.
taking pretty pictures. Like, I'm doing this to create a life to support my family and give my kids a life that I didn't have growing up and stuff. So that's why I'm so open about all of that. I'm like,
I love it.
I have nothing to hide. I'm like, this is who I am. This is what I value.
Yeah.
If it seems like a great fit, perfect. If not, like, here's some other people that might be,
Yeah.
um, yeah. And if you really don't like kids, I'm probably not the, the person for you. So,
Right,
because
right.
I'm sure at some point I'll talk about my kids. So I'm sorry, but I mean, that's what it is. So
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah.
And what's kind of funny too is, something I've learned over the years when I was, in my 20s, I was in the corporate event planning world and,
Mhm.
a whole different life, right?
Yeah.
But, now when am working with fellow vendors that, have children, I know what badasses they are,
Yeah.
honestly, because I just know what the job requires to come to be in both worlds,
Yeah.
and it's not some people may think, "Well, how can they do a great job?" No, no, no.
Yeah. That's what I think a misconception is too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna kill it
Yeah.
because of that,
Yeah.
it's
I have that a lot. That's another, going back to the misconception question is, I have that a lot. They're like, "Well, I don't wanna bother you. I know you have kids." I'm like, "You're not bothering me." I'm like, I want you to text me. Text me at 10 PM. I don't care." Um,
yeah, this is fun for us. We
yeah,
love
I'm
this.
like,
This is
this is what I want. I don't
this
wanna
is
be
what I'm
changing.
really good at. This
I'm like,
our
"I just
part
changed
is
3 diapers."
harder.
Yeah, "I just changed 3 diapers. Please text me about your wedding." Yeah.
Oh, you
"Get me
have
into my
3
office,
in
please."
diapers. Yes.
Yeah, no, that's another misconception is like, "Oh, I don't wanna bother you. You're so busy," or
Yeah.
"I didn't wanna send the text this late." I'm like, "Just send it." Like, I wanna talk to you about your wedding. I'm like, every single client that I book is so meaningful to me, like, that they chose me out of 1,000 other wedding photographers
Mhm,
out there. I'm like, it's a big
mhm.
deal. So, I
Yeah.
take it really serious, and I always set time aside, and if I don't answer the text at exactly the moment that I got it, like, I'm probably in the middle of calming down 3 children or something, and, like, I always try and respond as quick as I possibly can, but,
Yeah,
yeah, another misconception you talked about is being busy because you have a family. Like, yes, we're busy, but, I can separate the 2, easily to make sure that my family's taken care of and you're taken care of as a client. So, yeah.
yeah. Wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 final questions, Tony.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Um, what is your best piece of advice for engaged couples as they approach their wedding day?
Oh, man. Let's see. So, I would honestly say, first, lean into your vendors. That's like the most important thing. You hired a team of professionals for a reason. Like, let them take on all of the stresses on your wedding day. And I would say, if people have questions or stuff, tell them, like, "Oh, talk to my photographer, talk to my planner." Like, try and mitigate that stuff, and push that to other people so you can focus on being a bride and being a groom on your wedding day. And that's like one of the most important pieces of advice is lean in as much as you can. Even if you're like a super type A bride or type A groom and you have to have, control of the details and what's going on in the timeline and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I know it might sound like mean or harsh, but when couples on the wedding day are like, "What time is it?" I'm like, "Time
You
for."
don't
I'm like,
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
"Oh, yep, it's time for you guys to look at each other and go in for a kiss, okay?" I'm like
Yeah, yeah,
I'm not gonna tell you the time, when we're done with what we're doing, like, "Oh, it's 5:30," whatever it is, but,
right,
like, what time it is and what the timeline is flowing like isn't what's important. It's
right.
you and your partner and your friends and your family. All the other details, like, they're gonna come together at some point. Even if
Mhm.
the napkins aren't folded the exact way you wanted the napkins folded, I promise not a single person is gonna know that they were folded wrong. So,
I
I mean,
know.
yeah, the
Yeah,
small details matter, from a
sure.
design standpoint and all of that, but when it comes to, like, preserving your wedding day and your memories,
Mhm.
what's most important is focusing fully on the moment that you're in and not like what's next, what's next, what's next. So, yeah, that's why you hired that's why you hire good vendors, you know?
Yeah.
Let us take that stress from you. Let us take the
Yeah.
timelines and the lighting. That's what I have a lot of couples too is like, "Well, what do you think about the lighting?" I'm like, "Don't worry about the lighting." I'm
Yeah.
like, "Worry about being a bride, I promise." I'm like, "I can work with any
We
lighting
got you.
scenario." We got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Don't worry about that." I'm like, "Even if it's really bright right now, like if you want it to look not as bright, I can make it look not as bright, you know, in post, you know?
Mhm.
So, like, don't
Yeah.
worry about, you know, the shadows or the lighting and things like that. Like, just focus on each other, and I promise that is what's gonna give the most authentic memories and the most authentic photo and video is just being present. I mean, I'll say it again and again and again. Being present is, like, the most number
The
1 important thing as a bride and groom that you can do.
best gift you can give yourself.
Yes, and take selfies with each other too. That's one of my
Oh,
regrets for my wedding day. We didn't take any selfies on our phone, so I was like,
yeah.
I really wish we would have taken at least one of us just like, you know what I mean? So, that little
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
That's
So,
fun.
yeah,
No, I know I said one more question, but I
you're good.
remembered something you said earlier that I wondered if you wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
You had brought up, like, education.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a chapter that you're moving into or that
Yeah,
you
yeah, that is, I've done a couple well, I've done multiple, like, shadowing sessions where I've offered newer photographers wanting to get into weddings to actually come and shadow me on a wedding day. They can take photos alongside me, they can edit them, all that stuff. They can't, like, post them and tag the venues and all that stuff like they were the photographer, you know, like all of those
Right.
other small details, but they get to come and like see a wedding and not be in charge of it. So they can see like how it flows, how it operates, how I operate as a photographer,
Yeah.
and how, you know, because that's the hardest part about shooting weddings is actually like getting into weddings and like getting your first booking. That's what I struggled with, you know, was like great. I had that third shooter, you know, I was like getting ready photos and stuff. I was like, I don't know how to get more weddings. Like, I'm just gonna try and market this and hopefully it worked out. It did, because I pushed and did ads and all this stuff like crazy because I wanted it to work. But
Yeah.
I see in like, you know, Instagram or like on Facebook groups and stuff, photographers all the time, like, I want to get into weddings so bad, but I don't know where to start, and like no one will book me. And I just kind of like again like the empathy side of me is like putting myself in their shoes and like how hard it was to like get your first booking. The first booking I ever had was $500 for an 8-hour wedding package when I first started because I
Yeah.
wanted it that bad. I'm like, I'm
That's
just gonna
right.
I almost did it for free, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, so the education side of it is big for me. Like I have all this knowledge in my head, all of the things that I've done wrong, all the things that I've
Sure.
done right, all of
Sure.
the ins and outs of the wedding industry, how timelines flow, all of this stuff. I'm like, what use am I if I just have this knowledge and I don't share it with other people that are willing to learn? And I've
Mm.
actually found some of my favorite people, some of my best second shooters I've ever worked with and are still working with to this day, came from them shadowing me on the wedding day and our personalities like just mending so well together. And then,
Mhm.
you know, them bouncing ideas off of me and all this stuff. That's actually like my team of second shooters. A few of them started as like shadowing me on a wedding day. And it's like
Wow.
now I have this team of people that you know, they've worked with me so much, you know, 100 weddings or whatever now. Yeah, so that the education side of it's huge. So doing more of those shadowing, you know, mentorship stuff where they can actually come to the wedding day and shadow me and ask questions and shoot
Yeah.
alongside me and they can see what my settings are. They can see how I compose photos. They can see how I work with couples.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that and then also more like one-on-one mentoring sessions is in the future too. I just did my first mentoring sessions with one of my good friends. He lives on the East Coast now. Um, but he was like, "Hey man, can I just like pick your brain? Can we hop on Zoom for an hour and just like run through my whole business and like tell me what you think?" And it was awesome. It was so cool to be able to like pick his brain on ideas and like make you know help him realize certain things that could be changed and flow better because I've had so many people throughout the years that have helped me do that right. I'm like, can you look at this please, just tell me what you think, tell me what you know. I've sent my pricing guides to planners and photographers and all this stuff of like, what do you think, what's good, what's not. And it's been like the most valuable part of my business is creating those circles of friendships and those educational kind of circles, I guess you could say. So that's something that I'm going to be stepping into a lot going into this next season and this next year is like the one-on-one mentorships, the shadowing. I love teaching. It's probably like the managerial side of me of
Yeah.
doing all the
Yeah.
restaurant openings of
Sure.
teaching people how to do things, you know, not the correct way, but a better way to do things or a more efficient way. So
Right.
Yeah, that's something I want to do, is really dive into and create like an actual legit mentorship program that that photographers can join. And it's a lot of stuff in the works right now. I'm kind of like in the trial phases of seeing what works and what doesn't, but hopefully, soon enough I'll have like an actual platform that people can come and join and bounce ideas off of each other, and we can do one-on-one mentorships or shadowing opportunities and stuff too. So yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be
That's
good.
incredible. I can tell that lights you up. That's
Yeah. Yeah,
exciting.
I love teaching and helping other people, like, that's one of my biggest things, so, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, Tony, so we end every podcast episode with this question,
Okay,
and there's no right or wrong answer,
okay.
but, the title of this podcast is More Than Just a Wedding,
Yeah,
and I would love to know, what do those words mean to you?
more than just a wedding. I feel like we kind of touched on it with the memories and how they're preserved. It's more than just a production. It's more than just a photo shoot. Like, this is a once in a lifetime day that cannot be recreated in any way. Like, we can't reschedule. Like, we can't be like, oh wait, let's stop halfway through and we'll regroup next week and try this again. Like, it's a once in
Right.
a yeah, it's a once in a sometimes we wish we could do that, but
Sure.
it's a once in a lifetime day. So I think the podcast name is amazing because it's not just all the stuff you paid for and all the pretty details you set up and planned. Like, it's literally the memories you're creating with your family, with children to come, with, grandparents who get to witness your their granddaughter or great granddaughter getting married, and they can put themselves back into their wedding day. I think it's like a lot of the empathy side of things, of like your family putting themselves in your shoes and getting to experience an event that's more than just like pretty flowers and pretty details and pretty portraits.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think I love, I don't know, I love weddings. I love being a part of it. I love all the memories and all the intimate moments. And um, yeah, I think we kind of touched on it throughout the whole podcast of like, it's not a production, it's not a photo shoot. It's your memories with the person that you love most in the world and all of the people around you that love you the most in the world also. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Beautifully said.
hopefully.
And yes, very much so. And Tony, if our listeners or viewers, would like to learn more about you, how can they find you?
Yeah. I try to make it simple. It's just Tony George Photo. That's my website. That's my Instagram. Um, Again, like, if you're an aspiring photographer or someone wanting to get into weddings, like, always reach out. I'm an open book about everything, like educational wise, of how to work your cameras, or shooting or editing or whatever it is. I'm an open book. So yeah, anybody can find me. TonyGeorgePhoto.com, Tony George Photo on Instagram. TikTok's the same, Pinterest is the same. Yeah, if anybody ever has a question about anything wedding related, planning, whatever, I'm an open book. So yeah,
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you again, Tony, for
yeah,
your time, your knowledge, all that you shared today.
yeah.
Really
Thank you so much for
appreciate it.
having me. I appreciate it so much.
Yes. And thank you, listeners. This concludes this episode of the More Than Just a Wedding podcast. I know you walked away with knowledge and inspiration from Tony today. So thank you for listening.
Thanks.